This is the webinar many of us have been waiting for in a long time. I want to get over this manual to you. We put 300 hours into this on the white paper for AI revolution for many different reasons. And I'll explain that to you. At the end of this webinar, you will get a QR code to get this. And you'll be able to use this within your businesses to sit down with your executives, yourself, your team members, and say, here's what we can be doing with this part. This is what we're worried about. We shouldn't be. This is an opportunity for us. Here's what our competitors are using, X, Y, Z. And by the way, at the end of the webinar, I'm also going to announce 3 new speakers at the Vol Conference. You already know that Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, will be at the Vol Conference. He doesn't do business conferences. This will be the first one he'll be at in a setting like this. And aside from that, before I even get into the webinar, we got 120, 130 slides of the PowerPoint. Some of you guys will get the entire PowerPoint sent to you as well. But let me give you an idea how this thing took place. So for me, I've been in business for quite some time. For the first 7.5 years of being a financial advisor, insurance agent, it was purely hard work. I'm working 80 hours every week trying to make 6 figures. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting to $200,000 a year, $400,000 a year. But it's just pure hard work that we're doing. Later on, start my own insurance company. And we started with 66 agents, and we grew that to 50,000 agents. We sold it a couple years ago for a few $100 million. It was a beautiful exit. And even the buyers that bought us, we grew the EBITDA by 78%. So they're sitting there saying, after we bought it, it is nearly twice as much value it has now than it was 2 years ago. But why did this happen? Several years ago, I'm sitting there trying to identify, I'm going to work 80 hours a week anyways to build a business, but is that all it's going to take for me to have the highest valuation possible? So some of you guys may say, Pat, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. I'm a small, entrepreneur working for somebody. It doesn't matter where you are. This is going to apply to all of you as we're going through it. A lot of your objections will be overcome. I'm not a AI guy. I'm not a technology guy. I'm not an engineer. I'm not any of that. I fly out to New York to meet with investment bankers when I was ready to sell my insurance company. And I'm going out there saying, hey, this is how much profit we have every year. What does a company like us sell for in a climate like this? And I'll never forget, we met with 2 investment bankers that were selling businesses 0 to 50 million. Then we met with 2 that sold it from 50 to 200 million. And then we met with 2 that sold the businesses 200 million to a couple $1 billion. The biggest deals done in insurance and fintech, these guys did. So of course I want to do business with those guys. And I talked to one of them looks at me and he says, look, your business right now, the way you have it, what technology do you have behind it? So, well, we have this technology and that technology and this technology. Is it yours? No, but we have the license. What are you paying for the license? $50,000, but it's not yours. No, but it's a license. Nobody cares. It's not yours. What's your point? To be a true fintech, you need to be tech-enabled, and you need to have AI to use within your company. So when somebody decides to acquire your business, they're going to pay real multiples for it. I said, what do you mean? He says, right now, they're going to pay you 5 times multiple for your business. I said, that's it? He said, that's it. I said, what do they pay if you become tech-enabled fintech? He says, well, now you're talking about 15 to 20 times. You know what we did? We raised $10 million. We put the money into our technology called Bamboo. We grew Bamboo from what it was. It took us 1.5 years to build this technology. We ended up selling the business for nearly 20 times EBITDA. Why? Because of this. And how much education did I have in AI? This much. How much education do I have as an engineer? Nothing. So I don't want you to sit there and be worried about it. I simply want to hand this over to you. Now, let me give you the second part of the story before we get into this webinar. Last week, I go to New York. I visit Goldman Sachs in New York all day. First meeting starts at 9 o'clock. Last meeting with David Solomon ends around 4:30. David Solomon, some of you guys may know who he is. He is the CEO of Goldman Sachs. Some would call him the 5 most powerful people in the financial industry. You got Jamie Dimon, David Solomon. They're in the top 5 names that you'll regularly hear about. And we had conversations with the people that have families, investments that they manage around $1.2 trillion of money worldwide. Another person we sat with was $250 billion, and we're having all these conversations. I said, so let me ask you a question. How is your vision right now with clients you're dealing with? And we sat down with their TMT team, technology, media, telecommunication, and these guys just took a company public, Duolingo, all these. We're having all of these conversations about Monect, Bet David Consulting, our consulting firm, everything that we're doing. But the main conversation is, how is this being leveraged right now in the marketplace? And David says, just a few years ago, for every 10 employee we had, one was an engineer. I said, okay, how about now? He says, for every 4 employee we have right now, one is an engineer, okay? And then we're hiring machine learning, we're hiring engineers, we're hiring coders, we're hiring all of that stuff. We're having all these people that are in the machine learning AI space. Why? Because that's the future, okay? So today's presentation, as we go through all this stuff, don't worry if you're somebody that's big, small, middle, billion, it doesn't matter what you have. No matter what position you are, you're gonna get value on how to be able to position yourself in a better place to win. And keep this part in mind. This is very important for people to know. Most people don't know this. I don't make any money off our holding company. Till today, I've never once taken money off of Valuetainment. We get last couple months, we get a few 100 million views at this point per month. Our podcast is on fire. David Consulting on fire. Minect on fire. All of these businesses are doing very well. This is how much money I take off the table. I just did a speaking gig 2 days ago. They paid me $250,000. You know how much money went in my pocket? This much. It goes all back into the business. Why? Because I think this is the greatest opportunity of wealth creation ever in my lifetime. I've never had this kind of enthusiasm and excitement, and all I'm seeking is for the strategies of others. And for a guy that created content for many years purely around entrepreneurship, I want to share it with you. Very simple. Whatever you do with it, it is what it is, because at the end of the day, I believe all the big problems in the world are going to be solved by entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs working together. I'm going to share with you what I'm doing. With many different opportunities, get involved. Whatever you choose to do with it. If you got on, it's like, all I want is the white paper. Just give it to me and leave me alone. No problem. I want to get involved with bigger things with you guys. No problem. Stick around. We'll talk about that as well. But having said that, let's get right into it. Okay, so a couple things. There's 3 groups on today's webinar when it comes down to AI. Those of you that are doubters, you're ignoring AI. Those of you that are believers, you believe AI is the right way to go, but you're just kind of dabbling in it. And then there's some of you that are on right now saying, I'm a true believer, Pat. Everything I'm doing is AI. No matter where you are, you're going to see what direction this is going with AI. So now, audiences, some of you are actual entrepreneurs, small business owners. Some of you are executives working for a company, trying to take this stuff back to your company to bring value to the company. 3, some of you are parents, literally parents. I just got done with my wife. We had an hour-and-a-half meeting with our estate planning family because we're talking about different kind of trust. And for some of you that have watched the Generational Wealth, you know what some of the things we're working on. Upstairs while we're doing a meeting, it's me, my wife, Tom Ellsworth, and they're here. They drove up from Miami. And he says, everybody right now we're talking about, when we're doing their estate planning and getting a little bit dynastic and all this other stuff, slats and all these things that some of you may be familiar with, all these people that are saying, if you want to get back into working with the family's money or family's businesses, they're no longer saying go get an MBA. They're no longer saying go be a lawyer. They're saying go be an engineer, learn and work for another company as an engineer, then come back to our company. Think about that. I'm a Middle Eastern. Parents used to say, doctor, lawyer, engineer, right? Now it's go be an engineer. Why? Because the future trajectory with AI and NVIDIA now being a $3.2, $3.3 trillion company on any given day is parents, you also need to know how to position your kids so they can succeed in life, because things are changing in a big way. Then it's the aspiring entrepreneur. Maybe you're like me when I was at 21 years old saying I want to start a business one day, or you're an independent contractor. Either way, all of this will apply to all of you. Now, couple things with me. There's 2 sides to me. There's the paranoia side to me. You see the guy on the left, which, by the way, great job to AI. They made my skin look flawless, which is great. There's a paranoia side, which only the paranoid survive. What if? What if this? What if that? Whether it's business, family, kids, politics, and everyone have that side. But 51% of me is future looks bright. This is why you'll see a lot of people sporting the future looks bright gear. That's the combination I think you ought to go through with AI today. Why? Here's a couple different things. Today, political instability. Just in the last month, if I told you 6 months ago that you and I, when we get on a webinar on July 31st, I'll be able to tell you someone just went through political, an assassination attempt, a former president, you can say, you're crazy. The existing president stepped down and the vice president is now running for office. You'd say you are out of your mind. No, that's exactly what we are doing today. 98 days left until we decide who the president of U.S. is going to be. It's a lot of a lot of moving parts there. 2, financial strain, inflation. Numbers came out today with what's going on with inflation, what's going on with unemployment, what's going on with a lot of different things. Interest rates, scary. Is it going to lower 2 times this year? Are they going to bring it down in the month of September? What's going to happen there? Next, war on horizon. Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Hamas, China, Taiwan, cyber threats, CrowdStrike, AT&T. Technology, will my job be replaced? And by the way, I'll just tell you right up front, when we go through this, your job is most likely going to be replaced for many of you. You'll see why, but there's good news behind it. So now, few things. Nick Saban, many people will call him the greatest coach of all time. Nick Saban, we're in Florida. A lot of people here don't like this guy, but privately they'll say this guy's probably the greatest football coach, college football coach of all time. Once said the following: there's the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. If you choose the pain of discipline, you'll never have to deal with the pain of disappointment. For those of you that are on right now, you're part of the 5,000 group that made it, you're on the inside versus the people that are being kicked out. Good for you. Now, whatever you do with this pain that we're going to go through to have to adjust to AI will determine what the future is going to look like for you. So a few things. If you're like me, and you're someone that say, I'll never forget when I would get on any kind of videos like this, webinars like anything like this, I am so hungry to change my life. I don't have any time to have people distract me, for people to throw me off. I'm glued in because I want to find a way to improve myself. If that's you, you're part of that community. Close all your windows except for the webinar. Set your phone aside away from you as much as possible. I know some of you guys are going to have a hard time doing that, but set it as far from you as possible. Engage in the chat if you got questions, because the guys here are following it, and take notes. And having said that, let's get right into it. First video I want to show you with what we're already doing with current AI. My team here took a 2-minute video from me. And by the way, now we have channels that's Valuetainment Russian, me speaking in Russian fluently. I don't speak Russian. Our channel of Spanish, I don't speak Spanish. AI is so advanced nowadays that deepfakes are so easy to make that this guy talking in front of you here soon is not me. This is actually AI doing it. What does this mean? Some of you guys automatically will go and say, oh my God, this is scary. What if they use it against you? But some of you may go to places and saying, so you mean to tell me I can have 10,000 conversations at the same time in my business to sell, to communicate customer service? Yes. Watch this video clip here of AI. This is me speaking to you. This is AI. Go for it.
Welcome everyone to this groundbreaking webinar on the future of AI. I'm Patrick Bet-David, and today we have something truly special lined up for you. Before we dive in, I want to share a little secret with you. The Patrick you're hearing right now isn't actually me, it's AI. Yes, you heard that right. This voice you're listening to is generated by cutting-edge artificial intelligence. And that's just the beginning. AI can do incredible things like speaking in multiple languages seamlessly. Hola a todos, bienvenidos a nuestro seminario web sobre el futuro de la inteligencia artificial. Soy Patrick Bet-David, o mejor dicho, soy AIPAT. Bonjour à tous, bienvenue à notre webinaire sur l'avenir de l'intelligence artificielle. Je suis Patrick Bet-David, ou plutôt, je suis AIPAT. 大家好，欢迎参加我们的关于人工智能未来的网络研讨会。我是 Patrick Bet-David， 其实我是 AI Pat. Amazing, right? AI technology allows me to connect with you in your native language, breaking down barriers and making communication more effective than ever. Now, let's hear from the real Patrick Bet-David, who will take us through the exciting world of AI and its endless possibilities.
Let me know if they can hear me or not. Can you guys hear me? Okay, so that's kind of, just full disclosure. I don't speak Spanish. I don't speak French. I don't speak Mandarin. But guess what? Can you imagine we can now take Valuetainment and create 200 channels based on 200 different languages and allow anybody from the world to listen to our content? What is that worth? How much work is it? How many places can you be at the same time? Customer service to be able to adjust for the language that the person wants to speak to about. Just think about the possibilities. But that's just a small little example of what's going on today. Let's continue. So the presentation starts now. So the 4 industrial revolutions, and why this is very important, because every single time we went through this, people feared of their jobs being replaced, and it was replaced for many people, and why? But watch this here. So let's go through it. First industrial revolution, 1760s and 1840s. If you want to study the future, you have to study the past and history. This is exactly what we're going to do here. Marked by transition from hand production methods to machines, the rise of the textile industry, development of the steam power and iron production. Second industrial revolution, 1870 to 1914, characterized by the expansion of electricity, petroleum and steel production, internal combustion engine, the telephone, significant advances in manufacturing and production process. The next one, 1960s to 2010s, the digital revolution. You're talking electronics, information technology, automated production, computers, internet, digital. Then we have today the fourth industrial revolution known as AI, Industry 4.0. The fusion of technologies blurring the lines between the physical, digital, and biological spheres, which is what? AI, robotics, Internet of Things, genetic engineering, quantum computing, predictive healthcare. Wait till we break this down for you to see exactly what this looks like. So now, this automatically offers a lot of opportunity and risk at the same time. We have to look at both of them. You can't just be like, what a great opportunity or what a risk. You got to look at both of them. Only the paranoid survive, as well as future looks bright. So an industrial revolution is a unique time period for economic opportunity and risk. Each industrial revolution brings transformative changes that create significant economic opportunities and risks. So economic opportunities, innovation and growth, because of new technologies, industries emerge, job creation. 3, productivity gains. You're able to do things faster in a more efficient way. 4, investment opportunities. And 5, entrepreneurship. Innovators and entrepreneurs can capitalize on new technologies and market needs, leading to the creation of new businesses and startups. Now, the risks. Job displacement. It's going to happen. Automation and new technologies can render certain jobs and skills obsolete, leading to unemployment and economic displacement for affected workers. It is going to happen. 2, inequality. Economic gains may be unevenly distributed, leading to increased income and wealth inequality. Some people say, but that's unfair. If somebody has access to the same information, this guy takes advantage of it, this person doesn't, this guy 10 years later is worth $78 million. This guy 10 years later is worth $320,000. It's not unfair. This person executed, this person did not. They were afraid. Number 3, market disruption. Established industries and companies may struggle to adapt to new technologies, leading to business failure and market volatility. We're going to talk about that a lot. 4, regulatory challenges. Rapid technological advancement can outpace regulatory frameworks, creating uncertainty and potential risk for businesses and consumers. And last but not least, social impact. The societal changes brought about by industrial revolutions can lead to societal unrest and resistance to change. That is going to happen with AI, except much faster. Let's continue. So now, going back, first industrial revolution, workforce impact. You ready? It is estimated that between 30 to 40% of the workforce transitioned from agriculture to industrial sectors during the first industrial revolution. In 1801, roughly 3 million people were engaged in agriculture in England. By 1851, this number dropped to 1.5 million. 50% were moving to industrial jobs in textiles, iron production, and other sectors. Does this sound familiar to you? Like right now, everybody's saying, do you realize 50% of the jobs are going to be changed? They are, but we've gone through this many, many times. Next, key innovations and their impact. Steam engine, James Watt, 1769. Impact on transportation and manufacturing. In 1830, there were roughly 600 miles of railway in Britain. 20 years later, look at that number, 6,600. That's 11 times more. Steam engines powered factories, enabling mass production. The number of steam engines in use in Britain grew from a dozen in 1770s, just a dozen, few dozen, to 10,000 30 years later. By 1800. So industries impacted positively. Look at that. Textile mills, coal mining, iron works, and railways saw significant growth. Look at the negative now. Traditional water-powered and wind-powered industries struggle to compete. Of course, that's the positive. The negative. Next one, spinning jenny. James Hargreaves, 1764. Impact of textile production. One spinning jenny could spin 8 threads at once, compared to the single thread spun by traditional spinning wheels. By 1788, there were over 20,000 spinning jennies in use in Britain, significantly reducing the need for manual labor. Positive, cotton mills and factories increased production capacity. Negative, home-based spinning industries faced severe decline as they couldn't match the efficiency. Again, another fear that took place. Next one. Power loom. This is Edmund Cartwright, 1785. Power looms automated weaving, increasing output and reducing labor costs. Labor productivity increased by a factor of 20. The work previously done by 2,000 people could now be done by 100. Again, does that sound familiar to you? Oh my God, look at what's going on at McDonald's. They're able to do it with just a machine. We're gonna all lose our jobs. This has happened so many times in the history of America. Initially, many handloom weavers lost their jobs, but eventually new jobs were created in mechanized weaving. Positive, large textile companies flourished. Negative, small-scale handloom weavers saw their business collapse. Next one. So this one we're talking about, what is the word on that one, Rob? I'm sorry, Brandon? Cotton weaver Eli Whitney, right? Look at this, 1793, the cotton gin could clean up to 50 pounds of cotton per day compared to 1 pound per day by hand. That's 50x. Cotton industry production skyrocketed from 1.5 million pounds in 1790 to, look at 20 years later, 85 million pounds. You know what that number is? 60x in 20 years. 60x in 20 years. Positive, cotton plantations and textile factories experienced massive growth. Negative, manual cotton cleaning methods became obsolete. Let's continue. Iron smelting techniques. This is Abraham Darby, 18th century. Innovation. Darby's method of using coke instead of charcoal increased both the quantity and quality of iron produced. Production increased. British iron production increased from 17,350 tons in 1740 to 260,000 tons by 1800. Positive, iron foundries, machinery production, and construction industries grew rapidly. Negative, charcoal-based iron production methods declined due to higher costs and lower output. You notice the trend here? Everybody's going through it. Next one. You got the time period here. We're talking about what? Small scale, second industrial revolution. This is 1870 to around 1914. An estimated 40 to 50% of businesses were affected by the shift to mass production and assembly lines. Half of them were affected. Millions of workers moved from small scale artisanal work to factory-based employment. In the U.S., manufacturing employment grew from 2.5 million in 1870, 40 years later, to 8 million, nearly 4x. Let's continue. Next, electricity. Impact on technology and industry. This was a new thing. Guys, imagine if we don't have electricity. All of a sudden you have, oh my God, what are we going to do? What happens to candles? My dad was a candle maker in Iran, just so you know that. That was a skill set if you had. It didn't matter when you had this. Steam provided 80% of mechanical drive capacity manufactured in 1900s, but electricity provided over 50% by 1920 and 78% by 1929. Positive impact. Electrical equipment manufacturing, power generation companies, and electric utilities. Negative, traditional steam-powered and manual manufacturing methods saw a reduction in usage. Same thing you're going to see again. Telephone, Graham Bell, 1876. Adoption by 1900. Look at this number. You're going to be shocked by this chart I'm about to show you. Over 1.3 million telephones in the United States. It grew to 6 million 10 years later, revolutionized business operations by enabling instant communication over long distances. Industries impacted, positive, telecommunication industry, customer service sectors, and global trade. Negative, telegraph services faced significant reductions as telephones became more widespread. When's the last time you sent a telegraph, by the way? You haven't even thought about it, right? That was a crisis in the early 1900s. Next, internal consumption engine that was designed. So check this out, automobiles. The number of cars in the US grew from a few hundred in 1890s to 1.5 million. Listen, from a few hundred in the 1890s to 1.5 million. Just 26 years later, between 1908 and when the Ford Motor Company introduced the Model T, and the 1927, when its production ended, the number of registered automobiles in the U.S. grew from 197,000 to 23 million. That's like Elon Musk the other day said, the robot industry is going to be XYZ, and we're going to be 10% of it. Everybody's like, robot? So most of you guys are going to own a robot. I'm not going to own a robot. He said, no, you're going to own a robot, and Tesla's going to sell it to you. We're going to have 10 to 20% of market share. This guy's crazy. We're not buying no robots. You mean someone's going to cook me food? Yes, a robot's going to be cooking you food. Can you make horme sabzi? What's horme sabzi? Oh, it's a Persian stew. I'll make you horme sabzi. Can you make me a Peruvian dish? Can you make me this? Can you imagine a robot's going to be your chef and you're going to buy it for $10,000 to $30,000 to cook for you? Industries impacted, positive. Automotive industry, oil and gas industry, and machinery manufacturing, negative. Horse-drawn carriage manufacturers and related businesses experienced a downturn. This is when we used to go places on horses. When's the last time you went to school on a horse or went to work on a horse? If I went to work today in the 1890s, there'd be 75 horses parked outside. We don't have 75 horses parked outside because this industry disrupted the horse industry. Maybe that was a good thing. Next one, assembly line, Henry Ford, efficiency drastically reduced the cost and time of manufacturing. The time to assemble a Model T car dropped from 12 hours to an hour and a half. By 1914, Ford factories were producing 250,000 cars annually. Positive, mass production industry, especially automotive and consumer goods manufacturing. Negative, small scale and artisanal manufacturing struggle to compete with the efficiency and cost effectiveness of mass production. Next, watch this one here. Time period of third industrial revolution, shift in employment. Manufacturing declined. Manufacturing jobs in the U.S. declined from about 30% of the workforce in 1950 to less than 10% in 2010. Look at that chart. This represents a reduction over 7 million manufacturing jobs. The number of U.S. manufacturing employees peaked at 19.5 in 1979 and is at roughly 13 million today. 7 million, poof. What happened to those people? Are they homeless in streets or did they adjust to a different job? You'll see what happens here in a minute to those guys. Watch this one here. 1950 to 2010s, shift in employment. Growth in IT and related industries. Employment in IT, telecommunication, electronics grew substantially. For example, IT occupations rose from 450,000 in 1970 to 4.6 million in 2014. Imagine what the numbers are today. Here's the next one for you. 1950s to 2010. Key inventions and their impact. Transistor, right? This is William Shockey, Walter Bratton, and John Bardeen. Impact on electronics and computers. The transistor replaced vacuum tubes, leading to the development of smaller, more efficient, and more reliable electronic devices. The semiconductor industry grew rapidly, with global sales reaching $300 billion in 2010. Look at the chart to the right. Look what it looked like in '87. Look where it's at now. What would you have liked to have been part of that industry? That was a big boom. Positive, semiconductor manufacturing, consumer electronics, and computer industries. Negative, vacuum tube manufacturers saw their business become obsolete. Not they lost 20%, not they lost 50%. They disappeared because they did not adapt. Next, personal computers, 1970s and 80s, impact on accessibility in businesses. Adoption. By the mid-1980s, millions of personal computers were in homes and offices worldwide. It says millions. In the 80s, if you had a computer, you were considered rich. By 2010, there were over 1 billion PCs in use globally. Productivity PCs transform business operations, enhancing productivity and enabling new business models. Industries impacted, software development, IT services, and others. Negative, typewriter manufacturing relating industries faced significant declines. Again, same exact thing. Next one, internet. This is, we're looking at from 69 to 89. Impact on communication, commerce, and information sharing. Adoption. Internet usage grew from a few thousand users in the early 80s to 2 billion in 2010. And look at the chart on the right. That goes till 2020. Look what that shows you. 1990, what do you see? What do you see in 95? Nothing. What do you see in 2024? Nearly 5 billion people are using the internet in 2024. E-commerce sales reached $1 trillion in 2010. It's a lot higher than that today. Positive, online retail, digital marketing, and cloud computing. Negative, traditional brick and mortar stores and print media struggle to compete. This is when you see a lot of malls being shut down. When I used to live in Dallas, Preston Hollow, right across the street from us, there was a massive mall shut down right here in Florida off of not commercial. What's the other one? I don't know which one the other one is. Down the street, Sunrise, I think it is. Massive mall shut down. They can't sell that property to anybody. It's a different business model today. Mobile phones, 1980s to 1990s. Impact on communication, information access. Adoption, the number of mobile phone users grew from a few million in 1980s to 5 billion in 2010. And if you look at the chart on the right, you know what it tells you? There are more mobile phones worldwide than people. We have 8.59 billion mobile phones and only 7.95 billion. To those of you that are part of the two-phone community, you know who you are, right? This is what happens when you're part of that community. But by the way, just go back. Look at the chart right there. Look at 95. How many phones do you see in 95? Nothing. Look at the spike suddenly to the amount of phones, right? Imagine if you were a part of that industry early on. Economic impact, the mobile phone industry became $1 trillion market by 2010, driving innovation and connectivity, positive telecommunication, mobile app development, and portable electronics. By the way, on the mobile app development, do you know Tom's first big exit? Tom Ellsworth, BizDoc, him and I do podcasts, and he does a lot of shows for Valuetainment, been my business partner for almost 20 years. You know what was his first big exit? Jamdat Mobile. You know what Jamdat was? They made games for phones. You know what they sold it for? $680 million. Do you know to who? EA Sports. You know what year? 2004. Look at the timing of what happened. That was Tom's first big exit he got, that he became a multi-millionaire. Negative. Landline phone services and public pay phones experienced significant reductions. Let's continue. So now AI. The fourth industry, which they're talking about from 2010 till today and on. Adoption. AI adoption has been growing rapidly, with global spending on AI system reaching $98 billion, up from $37 billion just 4 years ago. Employment AI is expected to create 97 million new jobs by 2025. However, how many will it be displacing according to World Economic Forum? Look at that. 85 million. But notice, 85 million will be displaced, but 97 million new jobs. What does it mean? There's 12 million new jobs that they need, that they don't have the people to displace. Where are those people going to come from? That's the point. Every time a disruption like this happens, there are new jobs. You and I naturally learn new skill sets. 97% of business owners believe ChatGPT will help their business industries impact. Positive. Tech companies, healthcare, finance, customer service industries have seen significant improvements in efficiency and innovation. Negative. Jobs involving routine and repetitive tasks, such as data entry and some aspects of manufacturing, are being automated, leading to job losses in those areas. Next. So part of ChatGPT's capabilities, okay, that we look at. Number one, command line simplification. Breaks down complex computer commands in easy to understand terms, explaining each parameter and function. 2, custom command generation. 3, data cleaning and formatting. 4, information retrieval. 5, terminology assistant. You can go through this yourself when we give you the white paper. Language translation. We already know that, and they're very accurate. Debugging help. Continuing math calculations. The other day, they brought out comparing financial advisors with MBAs that are, folks who went to school to be CFOs, okay? Compared to ChatGPT, who was making better estimation on what the market was going to do. ChatGPT was able to beat them 70% of the time versus 60%. ChatGPT 4, that's what the model was. This is what in an article we were reading about that was saying. Number 9, technical task assistance. 10, content creation. There's so many podcasters worldwide right now that do their interviews, and 90% of the questions they ask is all ChatGPT. They'll say, hey, what's 5 unique questions to ask this person I'm interviewing? What are some 4 angles you would take that no one's ever taken when it comes down to the Kamala Harris bite? What are the 3 angles I should take when it comes down to true crime? Their entire podcast is all based on AI, all of it. Most people don't know about it. They don't have a big personality, but they got millions of subscribers because they're leveraging AI. 11, social media management. It's pretty much all done at right now. 12, research guidance. Educational support, collaboration enhancement. I don't know if you've ever been 12 years old in 2024. I have not. I have a 12-year-old son. You know what they're being taught? All of these different things today. These are normal things to a 12-year-old today. To you and I, oh my God, look what we're going through. To them, it's like, yeah, what are you talking about? This is what we're learning today. Exactly. Watch this. Time it took to any of the platforms to get to 1 million users the fastest. Netflix, it took nearly 1,250 days. Okay, Kickstarter, 900 days. Airbnb, 900 days. Twitter, these are days, Brandon, right, that I'm going through. Twitter, 750 days. Foursquare, 400 days. Facebook, 300 days. Dropbox, 250. Spotify, 200. Instagram, roughly 80 days. Look at ChatGPT. They flinched. They got 1 million users. Literally, they flinched and they got 1 million users just based on everybody using it. So now let's continue. This next one is here, absolutely wild for some of you guys that are, the ones following this quantum computing. This is what it looks like. Google's Sycamore quantum computer was able to complete a calculation in seconds that would have taken the world's fastest supercomputer over 47 years. Did you guys hear that? This quantum computer was able to complete a calculation that a supercomputer would have taken 47 years to do. It did it in seconds. In 2019, Google also claimed that its quantum computer could solve a problem in 200 seconds that would have taken the world's fastest supercomputer 10,000 years. 10,000 years. Internet of Things, IoT, adoption. By 2021, there were over 12 billion IoT devices worldwide, with projections reaching 25 billion by 2030. Market size, global IoT market size was roughly valued at $308 billion in 2020 and expected to reach $1.1 trillion in how many years? Just 8 years. 4x in another 8 years. Now, advanced robotics. Impact on automation and labor. Adoption. The global market for industrial robots was valued at $45 billion in 2020, projected to be $74 billion. Employment. Robotics is expected to augment human labor, particularly in manufacturing, logistics, and healthcare, but also displace some manual jobs. Industries impacted. Positive. Manufacturing, warehousing, healthcare industries have seen increased efficiency and productivity. Negative. Jobs involving manual labor and simple repetitive tasks are being automated, reducing demand for human labor in these roles. Watch this clip here. If you've never seen this, look how wild this is. Brandon, go ahead and play this clip. This is Boston Dynamics. Look at the kind of stuff they're building. Look at this. He needs help. Calls his buddy. Guy shows up. Look at this. Okay. Opens it. You know the small little things that we know how to do? Watch this. Lets his friend in. And look at the neck turning. We can't do that, but this thing can do that. Okay? This is the future, by the way. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, it's already here. This is not like a new thing that just happened last week. This has been around for many, many years, and soon it's going into a lot of different shops that people will be using. Let's continue. 3D printing. So these guys are now printing objects with high accuracy and precision to match their design. The global 3D printing market size was valued at $13.7 billion in 2020 and expected to be at $63.5 billion next year. Aerospace, automotive, healthcare, and consumer good industries have adopted 3D printing for rapid prototyping and production. Positive, custom manufacturing, prototyping, and medical device production. Negative, traditional manufacturing processes that are less flexible and more expensive have seen a decrease in demand. Blockchain. You guys saw what happened this week with President being at the Bitcoin saying Bitcoin's the future, cryptocurrency is the future, all this Gary Gensler, all these things that you keep hearing about with blockchain. Watch blockchain. Adoption. The blockchain market size was valued at $3 billion in 2020, projected to be at $40 billion next year. That's 13x in 5 years. Okay, cryptocurrency by 2021 was over 100 million Bitcoin wallets, indicating widespread adoption of blockchain technology. Positive, financial services, supply chain management, and digital identity verification. Negative, traditional banking and financial transaction methods are being disrupted by decentralized finance. And a lot of these big guys, the Black Rocks and Chases that would never have bought into this stuff. Now they're kind of like, well, we need to put a little bit of our portfolio into Bitcoin. They're starting to talk like that. What happened all of a sudden? You can't wait for advanced innovation today. It's coming whether you like it or not. It's going to be here. Now watch this. History of AI. The concept of AI dates back thousands of years, originating with ancient philosophers pondering life and death. Early investors created automatons, mechanical devices that moved independently. The term automaton comes from ancient Greek, meaning acting of one's own will. One of the earliest recorded automatons was a mechanical pigeon created around 400 BC by a friend of the philosopher Plato. Leonardo da Vinci designed a famous automaton around 1495. While the idea of self-functioning machines is ancient, significant progress towards modern AI began in the 20th century. So now, notable dates when you're thinking about AI. Number one, first expert system came into commercial market, known as the XCON, terrible name. It was designed to assist in the order of computer systems by automatically picking components, based on computer needs. 1981, Japanese government allocated $850 million, would be $2 billion of today's money, to the 5th generation computer project. Their aim was to create computers that would translate, converse in human language, and express reasoning on a human level. Jim Simons, this is a wonderful story of what this man did. He just recently died January of this year. The founder of Renaissance Technologies began integrating AI and advanced mathematical models into his hedge fund operations in the 80s. Renaissance Technologies, established in 1982, is renowned for being a pioneer in the use of AI and quantitative analysis. The most successful fund of all time was created with his strategy. Later on, you'll see some of the numbers that this guy put up using AI that nobody, including Ray Dalio, Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, none of these guys could do what they did because they simply use AI. The AAI warns of incoming AI winter where funding and interest would decrease and make research significantly more difficult. This is 84. They continued the same thing with Aaron. Then in 86, Ernst Dickmann and his team, Bundeswehr University of Munich, created and demonstrated the first driverless car or robot car. It would drive up to 55 miles an hour on roads. That was unlocked in Germany, that didn't have other obstacles or human drivers. 87, commercial launch of Alacrity was the first strategy managerial advisory system and used a complex expert system with 3,000 rules. This continues. 87, the market for specialized list-based hardware collapsed due to cheaper and more accessible competitors that use run Lisp software, including those offered by IBM and Apple. This caused many specialized Lisp companies to fail as the technology was now easily accessible. A computer programmer in 88 named Rollo Carpenter invented the chatbot Jabberwocky, great name, which he programmed to provide interesting and entertaining conversations to humans. By the way, that was like the original ChatGPT, right? Deep Blue, 1997, developed by IBM, beat the world chess champion, Garry Kasparov, somebody we've had at the Vault Conference before, in a highly publicized match, becoming the first program to beat a human chess champion. 97, Windows released a speed recognition software. 2000, Professor Cynthia Brezel developed the first robot that could simulate human emotions with its face, which included eyes, eyebrows, ears, and a mouth. It was called Kismet. The first Roomba was released in 2002. 2003, NASA landed 2 rovers on Mars, and they navigated the surface of the planet without human intervention. 2006, companies such as Twitter, Facebook, Netflix started using AI as part of their advertising and user experience algorithm. 2010, Microsoft launches Xbox 360 Connect, which use AI. 2011, NLP computer program to answer questions named Watson. You remember Watson? It won Jeopardy against 2 former champions in a televised game. 2011, Apple released Siri, the first popular virtual assistant. 2012, 2 researchers from Google trained a neural network to recognize cats by showing its unlabeled images and no background information. 2015, Elon Musk, Stephen Hawking, and Steve Wozniak and other 3,000 engineers and entrepreneurs signed an open letter to the world's government systems banning the development of autonomous weapons for purpose of war. You're going to see how a quote is going to overcome that objection for some of you guys that are worried about AI. Hanson Robotics created a humanoid robot named Sophia, who became known as the first robot citizen and was the first robot created with a realistic human appearance and the ability to see and replicate emotions and communicate. 17, Facebook programmed 2 AI chatbots to converse and learn how to negotiate, but as they went back and forth, they ended up forging English and developed their own language completely autonomously. 2018, Chinese tech group Alibaba had a language processing AI that beat human intellect on a Stanford reading and comprehensive test. Wait for this one here. Google's AlphaStar reached Grandmaster on the video game StarCraft 2, outperforming all but 0.2% of human players. 2020, OpenAI started beta testing GPT-3, a model that used deep learning, which now many of us use the GPT-4. 2021, OpenAI developed a DALL-E, which can process and understand images enough to produce accurate captions, moving AI one step closer to understanding the visual world. 2022, OpenAI launches GPT-4. And just 5 days after the launch, the application already acquires 1 million users And in 2023, OpenAI introduces GPT-4 multi-model LLM for text and image prompt. Elon Musk, Wozniak, and others call for a 6-month pause in training for more advanced AI system. By the way, all the designs you see here was designed by AI. This isn't our graphic designers doing this. This was AI. So let me continue here. All this stuff that we're talking about, you just got a lot of information. Now, again, all of this stuff that you guys are watching, you're going to get this at the end when you get a QR code to go download this. And you'll have that part, as well as we'll announce the 3 new speakers for the Vault. But stick around for this. Some of you guys will get this entire PowerPoint being sent to you as well. But let's continue with this. So now, how AI is impacting the economy. Reskilling needs, according to the McKinsey Global Institute, up to 375 million workers, 14% of the global workforce, may need to switch occupational categories by 2030 due to automation and AI. And odds are, if that's 375 million workers worldwide, if we take 14% of all of you on this right now, which is 5,000, 30,000 people are trying to get on right now, but 5,000 of you that made it, good for you. 14% of those that are on, 700 of you, whatever you're doing right now, your job's going to be replaced in the next 6 years. Just so you know that. That's according to McKinsey, okay? According to an Accenture report, manufacturing sector will see the greatest financial benefit from AI adoption with a gain of $3.8 trillion expected by 2035. Let's continue. AI is expected to contribute up to $15.7 trillion to global economy by 2030, according to PwC. This represents a 14% increase in global GDP. Again, more wealth for others who are able to capitalize. McKinsey estimates that AI could deliver additional global economic activity of around $13 trillion by 2030, boosting the global GDP by 1.2% annually. You know how you should process that, by the way? You should ask yourself, what percentage of that $18.7 trillion is going to be my family's? That's a question you got to ask yourself. How much of that's going to be yours? By the way, 15.7 trillion plus 13 trillion, $28.7 trillion. You ought to be able to get a piece of it for you, whether you're going to do it as the business owner or you're working for a company that's going to bring these things so you become so valuable to the company that you participate in the upside. You ought to have a decision of how you can contribute to whatever you're doing right now in your family. AI will have an estimated 21% net increase on U.S. GDP by 2030. Net increase, according to Forbes. Now, AI business optimization. Let's take a look at this here. JP Morgan Chase's Coin platform reduced the time spent on reviewing, guys, this is a big number here, reviewing legal documents that saved the company 360,000 hours of lawyers' time annually. By the way, they pay $800 an hour for corporate lawyers. You know what's $800 an hour times 360,000? Do the calculation right now on your phone. I think it's roughly $288 million. Is it $288 million? Somewhere around $288 million, if I'm not mistaken, okay? That's the number they saved because of AI. I mean, that's pretty crazy to be thinking about, right? Retail, customer interaction, AI-driven personalized shopping experiences are predicted to influence up to 45% of all online purchases by 2025, according to Gartner. Let's continue. Healthcare. The AI healthcare market is projected to reach $45.2 billion by 2026, grown at a compound annual rate, CAGR, of 44.9% from 2019 to 2026, according to Allied Market Research. Cost savings. AI could save the U.S. healthcare economy $150 billion annually by 2026. That means AI could decrease the cost of insurance. Think about that for a second. Pharmaceuticals. AI can reduce the R&D, research and development costs of new drugs by up to how much? 70%. You think this affects your parents and your grandparents? And shorten drug discovery times of up to 50%, according to Deloitte. So AI is also going to make you live longer and be healthier for those that choose to live longer. Now, trends in business. Let's continue. According to a Forbes advisor survey, 64% of businesses expect AI to increase productivity. 97% of business owners believe ChatGPT will help their business. AI in retail is expected to generate additional $2.95 trillion by 2030. That's PwC. 1 in 3 business plans to use GPT to create website content, while 44% aim to generate content in multiple languages. You just saw me speak in 3 different languages right now, including English, right? Spanish, French, and Mandarin. That was all AI, right? This is the direction we're going. Now watch this. Most ways people are using AI. Customer service is number one at the top. Cybersecurity and fraud prevention, number two. Digital assistants. Now think whatever one of these applies to you. This is you, your opportunity. Customer relationship management, inventory management, content creation, product recommendation, accounting, supply chain operations, recruiting. So many opportunities within this. Now watch this. For the longest time, parents were like, look, kid, if you want to go to college and you want to major in STEM, proficiency in STEM, that's what I want you to do. In 2016, most critical skills required of the workforce, what was number one? Proficiency in STEM, 42%. Where's it at now? All the way at the bottom, 28%. What went up? Time management skills and ability to prioritize went from 33% to 42%. Wait a minute. Time management skills and ability to prioritize by human beings. What does that mean? You're going to be needed. It's just people that are able to become more efficient. So how does somebody become more efficient? By learning how to use what? AI. You can look through this list here, but you see how things are adjusting. Hey, I want to grow up to be a doctor. You'll see in a minute here. Not a lot of parents are going to say, kid, go be a doctor when you grow up. You'll see why. Case studies. This is Jim Simons, the gentleman we talked about earlier with Renaissance Technologies. It's absolutely insane what this man did. So he used to work for the NSA in 1965. He worked there for 3 years. 3 years later, he makes comments about Vietnam. He gets fired. He leaves, goes and becomes a professor. 82, he starts Renaissance Technologies, hires a guy from MIT. I'm going to give you the story, and I'm going to skip some of this stuff here. In 1988, they start their fund. Their fund first year loses 4%. Second year does 55%. Their fund from 1988 to today, you know what their return has been? 69%. You know what their fees are roughly? Up to 44%. Even after they take 44% of fees, their clients have received an annual rate of return of nearly 39% from 88 till today. These guys did so well that by 1995-ish, they closed the fund. They said, we don't want any more new money. You know what they did by 2005? They sent all the investors' money back to them, and they said, listen, you got to take your money out. Moving forward, the only people that can have their money in Medallion fund are current or previous employees. That's how this fund did. If in 1988 you put $1 in S&P 500, $1 with Berkshire Hathaway, or $1 in the Medallion fund, here's what you would have today. S&P 500 from 1988 today would be $42. Berkshire Hathaway would be $154. Medallion fund today would be $44,000. These guys dominated because they used to say, you can't be trading stocks faster than a week and a half. You're going to lose money. They said, no, man, we're going to use AI and we're going to trade every day and a half. And everybody said, these guys are delusional. They don't know what they're talking about. They didn't beat everybody. They beat everybody by 7 touchdowns. They destroyed them. Okay, they destroyed them is what he did, and this guy ended up being worth, I don't know, nearly $20 billion when he wrote one of the best books, by the way, that everybody should read. Passed away 6 months ago. God bless him. Okay, let me go back to this. Okay, next, Elon Musk and Tesla. Look what these guys did. Just look at the chart on the right. Okay, in U.S. EV sales, no brand comes close to Tesla. Just look at that, 2023. They sold 325,000 cars in 2023. The next 19 combined can't compete with Tesla. Chevrolet's too, then it's Ford, then it's Hyundai. Can't compete. Why? AI. Next, Jeff Bezos and Amazon. Look what these guys did using AI. You know what the chart shows on the right? The average click-to-door speed. That's what that is. You click, you purchase, how many days it takes to come to you. Amazon used to be 4.6 days at the beginning of 2020. They brought it down to 1.5 days. Right now, when you place an order with Amazon, how long does it take to come to your house? Look at their competitors. They're 5.2 days. Who are you going to order with? You're going to go 1.5 days or 5.2 days with Walmart or Target or any of the other guys. By the way, this is exactly what McDonald's did when they destroyed everybody. Fast food. Boom, 59 seconds, you're out. Boom, order stuff is in. Are you kidding me? Exactly. What's the valuation of Tesla? Roughly $600, $700 billion on any given day, maybe $800 billion. What's the valuation of Amazon? $1 trillion. Do you think this guy knew he was going to build $1 trillion business when he was first trying to replace bookstores? No. As things changed, they added AI and technology, and then all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute. AWS, hosting, we can sell everything. Boom. Bezos is worth $200 billion. Musk is worth $240 billion because of the usage of AI. Let's continue. Sundar Pichai and Google, again, look at this here when it comes down to search engines. 90.7% of all searches being done is Google. And I know there's a lot of stuff to be able to say with Google, what they've done this last week. They own 91% of it. This is pretty much a monopoly that they have as well. Guess what they use? AI. This is another one for you with Microsoft. Look at these guys. His background, the CEO of Microsoft, has driven, the CEO Satya Nadella has driven the company's AI strategy to enhance its products and services. Use of AI, Microsoft integrates AI into its cloud computing service, Office Suite, and customer service solutions. Azure, Microsoft's cloud computing, platform offers AI services such as machine learning, cognitive services, and bot frameworks. And look what they've done on the right. He said AI is the defining technology of our times, and we're infusing it into what? Everything we offer at Microsoft to empower people and organizations. Look at the businesses on the right. Azure, $80 billion. Microsoft 365, $49 billion. LinkedIn, $15 billion. Windows 11, $22 billion. Xbox, $15 billion. Copilot, $12 billion. What's their total revenue? $211 billion of revenues? Exactly. Why? Because he said what? He said, we're infusing AI into everything we offer at Microsoft to empower people and organizations. Reed Hastings and Netflix. Look at these guys. That's what happened with cable. That's what happened with Netflix. What did they do? AI. Blockbuster versus Netflix. Blockbuster didn't want to touch AI. Netflix did. What happened? The red is Netflix. The blue is Blockbuster. When's the last time you went to Blockbuster? We have a lot of good stories. I used to go to Blockbuster every Friday and Saturday night and stand in line hoping that movie gets dropped off by somebody and we snatch it. We would say, before you drop it, can you just give it to me? No, man, I got to drop it off. Can I go in there with you? Hey, man, he wants to give it to me. Do you remember those days? You have to be 40 years old to remember those days. It's called Blockbuster days. No more Blockbuster days. Right now, it's called Netflix and chill, right? Netflix and chill is what it is today. Some of you guys probably prefer that. So Kodak. Kodak was a leading photographer. These are the guys that screwed up, by the way, and didn't adapt. Everybody used to use Kodak. You know what happened to Kodak? They're gone. They used to have $1.1 billion in revenue. You know where they're at right now? 120 million. They were afraid to touch AI. Kodak was slow to embrace digital photography and AI-driven image processing, while the company invented the first digital camera. You're the company that invents it, and they ask him, why don't you release it to the public? Because we were worried it was going to put us out of business. Think about that right there. You come up with the first digital camera and you don't sell it to the market. Kodak right now should be a $200 billion company, minimum, selling all these cameras to the phone companies. How big would these guys be? But no, they were afraid. They didn't capitalize off of AI. When's the last time you bought a Kodak product, by the way? When's the last time you saw a Kodak commercial? When's the last time? You have to buy a 1960s magazine to see a commercial of them. They disappeared. Nokia, same thing. I used to have a Nokia phone. What happened with them? They were afraid. They didn't see all the stuff that was going on with AI-driven smartphones, but one guy did. What was his name? Steve Jobs. What happened to Apple? It's a $3 trillion company, give or take, because they understood AI. Sears. Remember Sears? Go back and look at when Sears got started. It's like 1886 or some weird number like that. What happened to Sears? They didn't want to touch AI. Who did? This guy named Jeff Bezos. What happened to Amazon? What happened to Sears? Wiped out. Look at their revenue, by the way. They used to do $53 billion of sales. When? In 2006. What's their number right now? Look at their number right now. $3.26 billion in 2020. It's lower today, right, with the numbers. So choosing the right AI tools matter when it comes down to this. So cloud pricing optimization. Examples, Airbnb uses AI on AWS for capacity management, custom cost, and usage, data tools, and optimizing storage and computing capacity. Dropbox saved nearly $75 million by using AI to optimize cloud costs and reduce AWS dependency. AI tools identify cloud usage patterns, detect anomalies, and uncover cost-effective resources. Now, some of you guys, again, you could bring this to your company, or you can do it within your company. Voice assistant, chatbots. Over 60% of business owners believe AI will improve customer relations. Example, Pentagon Credit Union chatbots for faster customer query resolutions now handles 25% of common internal service requests, freeing up service desk staff to focus on more complex tasks. How awesome is that? Amazing. Uptime and reliability optimization. AI helps maintain uptime and website reliability by scanning for inefficiencies and potential disruptions. The examples can be with a lot of different companies: Netflix, Uber, Facebook, Salesforce. At the bottom, AI ops tools help intelligent alerting, root cause analysis, anomaly detection, and capacity optimization. Delta Airlines digital simulation, environmental for global operations. It can continue with other things. Productivity maintenance. AI is used to analyze data and identify maintenance needs to ensure safety and efficiency. Again, I can give you many of these examples. You can go through this when you look at what's going on with AI. These tools are available to you when we give you the white paper and the PowerPoint. Some of you guys will have access to go through this yourself. Here's Dwayne Johnson, who will be at the Vault Conference. I believe this is one of the first business conferences he'll ever be attending, and we'll be doing a 90-minute interview together. Some of you guys who attend may even have a chance to ask him a question. He once said, "Success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success. Greatness will come." Dwayne Johnson. That means that applies to you and I as well. Objections in AI implementation. Let's look at this. Cost concerns. Well, how much is this going to cost me? Many business owners worry about the high initial investment required for AI implementation, including software, hardware, and skilled personnel. Lack of understanding. How does this work? I don't know how this works. Data privacy and security, integration challenges, job displacement. These are some of the things we talked about. Look what Will Guidara said, a good friend of mine who wrote the book Unreasonable Hospitality, New York Times bestseller, starts a restaurant, is a regular restaurant in New York, makes it a 1-star, 1 Michelin star, 2 Michelin star, 3 Michelin star, top 50 restaurant, top 10 restaurant, not in New York, in the world, and eventually becomes a number one restaurant in the world, and he sells it. He says, you're not always going to agree with everything you hear, just like today in AI, but you've got to start by listening. If we don't listen about what's going on with AI, and some of these authors, like this guy who wrote this book, they call it the best book ever written on AI, Max Tegmark, Life 3.0. If you follow AI, you know this. Elon's a big fan of this book. We have to start learning for ourselves and saying, what direction is this going? And how can this positively change my life? Let me continue. Key points, again, AI implementation, data quality. Stats, 60% of companies cite data issues as the biggest challenge in AI. 50% of executives worry about ethical implications of AI. Again, these are some of the concerns that we can go through. Wealth concentration. The leading 10% of AI adopters are seeing twice the profit returns compared to the median. The top 10%, the leading 10% of AI adopters are seeing twice the profit returns? Yes. You know what's going to happen with separation of wealth the next 3, 5, 10 years? You know how they say the rich get richer, the poor get poorer? It's very easy. Those who leverage AI and innovate are going to get richer than those who don't. Exponentially, and it won't even make sense. Exponentially, and it doesn't even make sense. When PayPal was selling and all the PayPal mafia guys were in the same room, they all had about the same money as Elon Musk. But Elon Musk kept recreating himself and advancing himself to see what he needed to do in today's industry. And now the wealth disparity between him and all the PayPal mafia, it's not even close. That's the pure example. Those guys are still rich, but not at the level of Elon Musk because he leveraged what's going on here in the marketplace. So now, government policy, you can have all this stuff for you to go through. You know, what do you do to stand out? Hire with the right team in mind. Study market trends with what's going on. 39% of business reported hiring software engineers. 35% hired data engineers for AI-related positions. Expanding your search. We're giving you all of this stuff in the white paper for you to go through. You know, while you're thinking, like for us right now, we're expanding our search. We're getting right now at Lion Holding, which owns Manect, Valuetainment, David Consult. We're getting 3,000 job applications a week right now. Roughly 150,000 job applications a week. How do we go through all the right people to hire that are going to be a fit for our company or not? How do we do it? We're about to release a webinar in the next couple weeks that's going to show exactly what it takes to work at our company, who works well, who doesn't work well. That'll be released in the next 2 to 4 weeks. We've spent so much time identifying what's working, what's not, and using as much AI and data to help us make better decisions. This is just a part of it. Offer more than just salary. A lot of people are thinking, well, I'm going to have to pay a lot of money. You don't just pay a lot of money to get AI. It's got to be a lot more than that. Make sure hiring managers are trained and AI recruitment. Couple quotes I want to share with you here. Here's Alan Turing. He said, a computer would deserve to be called intelligent if it could deceive a human into believing that it was a human. Make sense? So don't let it deceive you. We invented fire, says Max Tegmark, which, by the way, this is what Elon Musk said about Max Tegmark, who's got, he's all over the place on all these podcasts he always goes to. This is a compelling guide to the challenges and choices in our quest for a great future of life, intelligence, and consciousness on Earth and beyond. Elon Musk talks about him. They say the book Hero was the greatest book ever written on AI. Listen to what he says. Powerful quote, especially for those of you guys that are worried. We invented fire, repeatedly messed up, and then invented the fire extinguisher, fire exit, fire alarm, and fire department. What's he saying? AI, we're going to build something that's going to break a lot of things. And then we're going to build the controls to make sure future looks bright for all of us. So fear and anxiety doesn't need to go to this level. It's all going to be fine. Future looks bright. Sergey Brin, if you had all of the world's information directly attached to your brain, or an artificial brain that was smarter than your brain, you'd be better off. Again, if that's not going to be you, you can hire somebody that's going to be doing that. Next, I'm telling you, the world's first trillionaires are going to come from somebody who masters AI and all its derivatives and applies it in its ways we've never thought about. Mark Cuban, I think he's talking about Elon Musk, as much as they're not the best of friends. Eric Schmidt, AI will be the most transformative technology since electricity. That's from Google. Zuck, watch what he says. I actually like what he says here. Whenever I hear people saying AI is going to hurt people in the future, I think technology can generally always be used for good and bad, and you need to be careful about how you build it. If you're arguing against AI, then you're arguing against safer cars that aren't going to have accidents, and you're arguing against being able to better diagnose people when they're sick. Look at the way he sees AI, right? So now, we're at the end of the presentation. In a minute, I'm going to give you the QR code for you to go out there and get this white paper and share it with your friends, employees, and all those guys. So stick around. The last slide is going to be this. I'm going to go through a couple different things to share this with you and tell you what we have going on, how this can help you out. Few things. This is what we're doing. My basic strategy of what I'm doing to take my businesses to the next level and what I've done the last 10 to 20 years are the following. Number one, I've always upgraded my network and my community. When I was coming up in the insurance space and I started my own insurance company, I went to every single conference I got to. Since 21 years old, I've been going to 4 business conferences every year. Since 21 years old. And trust me, most of my friends and relatives that I would invite and coworkers, they would say, oh, not this one, I'll go to the next one. I'll go next year. I'm busy right now. I'm getting married. My girlfriend and I going through problems. How am I going to take days off? I already took my vacation. I'm already going through all this stuff, right? I focused on upgrading my community and my network. When I went into the insurance industry, went to all the insurance conferences, which are so motivational for some of you guys that have been in, you know what I'm talking about. You know what happened? I met a handful of these guys. Every 90 days, I would call these guys. And I would say, tell me what's going on with an insurance. Who's doing it right? Who's making big mistakes? What is the new innovation? What new products are changing? What's going on with technology? There were these 5 guys. Till today, I stay in contact with these guys. And one day, they're going to tell the story of how our relationship is. And they would always give me an edge against my competitors and my peers. Why? Because I was always trying to upgrade my network and my community. Last Wednesday, Goldman Sachs, what am I trying to do? Upgrade my network and community. Everywhere I'm going, I spoke at Chase, a small business symposium 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago in LA at Palos Verdes. What do you think we're doing? Everything is upgrading our network and community. How are you upgrading your network and community? That alone takes effort. Because when you upgrade that and they tell, here's what we tried with AI. No way, let me try it. Here's what we tried. Here's what we tried. Seriously? Yeah. Here's what we tried. No, here's what we done. What? Yeah, that's crazy. That's one. 2, get into a mastermind. I don't know what mastermind you're a part of. A lot of companies offer a lot of great masterminds. You know, Vistage, YP, there's a lot of them that you can get into, but you got to be part of a mastermind. If you think you're going to go through this and innovation and change is coming like this, it used to be like this. Change was like this 40 years ago. Then all of a sudden, 30 years ago, it's like this. 10 years ago, it's like this. Today, it's like this, right? If you're not talking to somebody and other people that they're bringing up what they're doing. Today, earlier, I'm doing a mastermind with 7 CEOs from different countries, and we're sitting there talking about what challenges they're going through today. If you're not hearing them saying it, you're falling. This is exactly why separation takes place. Because some are into masterminds and they strengthen themselves, and some are simply not into masterminds. They're talking about baseball, football, soccer. This is the wrong time to be just in sports fans masterminds. You got to get into something that changes your life. Number 3, invest in your people and yourself. Just recently, I sent Mario to go to Kellogg School for a week on how to become a better chief sales officer. I sent Mario and I sent Leo. I sent Meral to Harvard. She's the president of my insurance company. She used to be my teller at WAMU, for some of you that remember WAMU. I've sent her to Harvard and Wharton. I've sent, Tikran to Wharton, I believe. Each time I send them is $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 when they go to places like this. But why do we do that? Couple reasons. There was a great quote. Is it in here right now or no, if I cover that quote? One of the best quotes ever said was this: CFO, Chief Financial Officer, asked the CEO, what happens if we invest and develop in our people and they leave us? The CEO answers, what happens if we don't and then they stay? A lot of people, Trish Bertuzzi, a lot of people are like, man, I don't want to invest into my guys. They're going to go and become competitors of mine. Yeah, but if you don't, they're going to stay and they're not going to be bad. I've always been about investing. Just Saturday, I spoke at this event in Arizona for this gentleman named Andy. He says, for the Vault Conference, we're shutting down our company and we're bringing 100 of our all employees to go to the Vault Conference for 1 week. For some of you guys that are going to the Vault Conference, you're going to see Elliott Army everywhere. We have 10, 15 businesses right now that are taking 50 plus of their employees because they understand you got to invest into yourself and your people. And last but not least, involve stakeholders. The meeting I had right now for estate planning, my wife was a part of it. You know who else came in? My son. And my daughter came in. They said, what are we doing with estate planning? I said, we're talking about your future money. Really? Yes. Huh. Last year at the Vault Conference, we had 500 husband and wives in the room. The last 2 years, there's been 2 couples that came to spend their honeymoon in Miami and extended, and they stayed 3 days to the Vault Conference. Why? Include stakeholders. When I go to events and I went to Goldman Sachs, guess who was sitting right next to me? My wife for the meeting. Tom over here, because he's my guy for decisions that we make. Sam was there. Involve stakeholders. You know, the insurance company that we built, you know what the entire model was based off of? Husbands and wives. Why? My top 50 earners in the insurance company that we built, 95% of the top earners were ran by husband and wives. Most of the time nowadays, everybody's just going to it by themselves, and you're trying to come back and explain to your wife or your husband what happened. If you're going to be part of masterminds, or if you're going to be serious about investing into events to go out there and change yourself and recreate yourself, take your wife, your kids if they're adults, and your business partners and your executives. Don't go by yourself. That's how you grow your business in ways you've never grown before. Let's continue. So, couple things here to wrap up with before I give you this PDF and a white paper. The Vault Conference. In the past, we've had Tom Brady at the event, Mike Tyson, Andy Fastow from Enron, Kevin Connolly, Chaz Palminteri, Kiyosaki, Dustin Portier, Will Guidara, Gary Kasparov, Billy Bean from Moneyball, Brad Pitt played him, Peter Guber, Patty McCord from Netflix, Francis, Frederick De Silva, a good friend of mine. We've had many different speakers. I'm about to introduce to you 3 of them here tonight. And this is a mastermind that we run. We have many masterminds that we run. Most of them have a waiting list, but one of the masterminds that we run, everybody that's on it, they send their email, they email their questions. We jump on and we process 5 minutes. You and I, or Tom or others, you and I go through a 5 minute of processing any question you want to process on the mastermind if you're called upon. And that happens for an hour and a half. We do many of these on a monthly basis, and you'll jump on our masterminds. These masterminds go for $897 a month and roughly $10,000 per year to be part of these masterminds. Many people from 60 plus countries are on these masterminds of ours with Bet David Consulting. Now, just for this webinar today that we're talking about, and simply when I tell you just for the webinar today, you're all going to be getting this. But for this webinar, we have a special offer, and you'll see. Again, I told you earlier today, Tom knows, my CFO knows, Mario knows, this is how much money I've taken off the table with Valuetainment. 100% of money that goes into Valuetainment, that includes the vault, that includes public speaking, doesn't make it into my pocket. We're all reinvesting. So everything we do with Lion Holding and Valuetainment is to grow the business, and whatever we share with you keeps growing within the business you're a part of. There are many great testimonies you can hear about of what we've done for others, but let me continue with what we're doing on this offer today. Number one, first 100 people that are watching this, who go out there and buy a ticket, general or platinum, whatever ticket you buy, there's 5 tiers of tickets, CEO, founder, executive sold out. General and Platinum is the only one that's left. Platinum's about to sell out, then it's only General. For the first 100 people right now that are watching this, that go on that QR code, that register to attend the Vol Conference, which has happened the first week of September. During that event for 3 days, we will go through a 200-page manual together. This 200-page manual fill-in will go through over 3 days. We'll do roughly 6 case studies, which you'll be working with others as you go through these case studies. And this will be given to you while we go through it at Palm Beach Convention Center for the first week of September. While we go through this, you're networking, building relationships with others. The first 100 people that get registered right now and buy a General or a Platinum ticket, you'll get 1 month free to be on one of our masterminds. And by the way, we talked about it earlier. Mario brought up this idea, and I thought it was such a great idea that we said, you know what, no, we normally wouldn't do this, but we'll go ahead and do this as well. Per ticket you buy, that you pay for, you'll get an additional month. So if you say, I want to bring 5 of my employees, no problem. You'll also be on our mastermind 5 months for free. That's included per ticket you purchase. So it's up to you. 1 ticket, 1 month. 10 tickets, 10 months. 5 tickets, 5 months. You pick and choose. That's the QR code. Let me continue. And by the way, anybody that purchases a ticket tonight off of this webinar will have the PowerPoint emailed to you directly, not just the white, everybody gets the white paper. The PowerPoint will be sent to those who purchase a ticket tonight. This is the next one. I'm still going to tell you the speakers here in a minute, so stick around. So here, the event. For some of you that say, well, Pat, what if I want to buy more than 1 ticket? Very simple. You buy 2 tickets, you get 1 free. You buy 4 tickets, you get 2 free. But if you buy 2 tickets, Platinum or General, you get 1 ticket free. Now you may say, well, Pat, if I buy 2 tickets and get 1 free, do I also get 3 months? No, you get 2 months because you paid for 2. Make sense? Buy 2 tickets, you get 1 ticket free, and you get 2 months free to be on the next General Mastermind that I'll host, and you'll see how we're processing together. That's the next one. Again, first week of September, 4th through the 7th at West Palm Beach Convention Center. Myself, Tom, Rock, and 3 other speakers, which I'll be announcing here in a minute. Now, some of the things people say, my wife and I are traveling on vacation, and at the same time, we're at the vault. No problem. Here's what I'll tell you. You know what happens when every once in a while, the conditions are perfect where like a perfect storm is happening? I wrote a book 15 years ago titled The Next Perfect Storm. I saw what was going on with insurance. My wife and I did a meeting one time. I'll never forget. Mario, I think you were in this meeting. Mario just shared a video with me of 2009, August. I couldn't believe listening to myself. I'm up on stage, and I said in front of everybody, my wife and I had just looked at a new house. She'll remember this, at Monterey Estates. We love this house. $1.5 million we wanted to buy. I was going to put a few $100,000 down payment. I got up and I said, I'm not buying a house for the next 7 years. I'm going to put 100% of the money that I have into the business. That's exactly what we did. The only savings that I had at the time was $500. That $500 today has turned into roughly $500 million. From $500,000, this regular guy, 1.8 GPA, parents got divorced twice, born and raised in Iran, nothing special about me. 1.8 GPA. I was in the Army. Asked my guys that were in the Army, what's Pat going to do when he leaves the Army? Nothing. Nobody woke up and said, this guy's going to do anything special with his life. I'm a regular guy. I never finished the book, That Was Then, This Is Now, Of Mice, of Men, Lenny petting the rabbit, all this other. I wasn't that guy. I like math and I like people. Joined the Army. Guy named Jesus Guerra recruited me. Got into the Army. I got out. I had dreams. My dad, my biggest fear in life was if my dad dies and my kids don't meet him. It was my biggest fear because I never met his father. And I always wanted to meet my dad's dad, my grandfather. Never met the guy. And I got out of the Army and I lost everything I had. I have nothing to myself. I'm working at Bally's. And then I'm to the point where I'm thinking about going back into the Army, and I don't. And I made a promise to my dad one day when I was 25 years old at a Christmas party when somebody said something to my dad I did not like. Made a decision, came out, and we grew the business, and a lot of things happened in our lives. And my dad lives with me today. All my kids know him. My kids are in the office right now. While I'm doing this webinar, they're running around the office right now. They like to be here. We enjoy each other's company. What's the point? What if when I'm 21 years old, I'm like, yeah, I don't have time to go to this Tony Robbins seminar. Maybe next year. I didn't do that. I went to it. What if my girlfriend and I have a date weekend, we're going to do this? I went to it. Changed my life. I probably would have never met my kids if I wouldn't have made that decision, because I wouldn't be in a position to marry the wife that I have today of 15 years. So for some of you that are using that, this is not a time to be using that excuse. Maybe next year, if you're part of the procrastination community, I highly recommend you change ASAP, make a decision. We're never going to have The Rock ever again, including the next 3 speakers that I'll be introducing while I give you the white paper as well. I wouldn't be part of the community that says maybe next year. Unable to financially commit, I've made decisions where there's good debt and bad debt. Many times I put a lot of money that was return on my investment. I'm glad I did. This is the good kind of debt. This is not a bad kind of debt. I'm coming along, can't think of anybody else to bring with me. You can't tell me you don't have any other friends. You always go to an event with a running mate, a spouse, a running mate, a friend that's also thinking big, saying, listen, why don't we go to this thing together? I like 2s. I prefer 3s when I go to. Tom and I, 50 nights we've shared a room together when we've gone to events. 50 nights, Tom and I. You name the conferences, 50 nights we've gone, and we'll always debrief, we'll eat, we have a good time together as well. But I typically go with somebody. My kids are going back to school. So are mine. I'm still putting the event together for you. I went last year, not sure what'll be different. Talk to the people that have gone 5 years in a row. Market is not the same market as it was last year. The AI things right now is not what it was last year. The questions many of you are asking right now, it's not last year. So the problems we're solving today are very different than the problems we solved last year. I don't have time, too busy. That's your decision to make. I don't like large crowds or networking. Do you like a big life? Do you like identifying the next problem you have to overcome to have your thing, your dreams become a reality? There's a lot of things I don't like, but I have to overcome it. I don't have a business yet. A lot of people that are coming don't have businesses. There's going to be entrepreneurs and there's going to be entrepreneurs, people that make 50 grand a year or $100,000 a year, and those that have a $1 billion business with 10,000 employees. Some people that just raised $300 million, they're a unicorn now. Wide range of people will be coming from different backgrounds. So now, let me give you the speakers here before we wrap up and give you the white paper. Few things that we decided to do differently with this event. I already told you, myself, Tom will talk about how to raise money, which is very important today. Dwayne Johnson, why'd you bring Dwayne Johnson? This guy's got 600 million social media followers because he's a very good storyteller. And many people need to learn how to tell their stories. Most people suck at this. What happens if you learn how to tell a story and you start getting videos going viral? What does that do to your business? What does that do within the industry? A lot. This is an expert in that. This guy's been doing that from $7 to being a billionaire today. He'll be there. So that's Dwayne Johnson. Next speaker that I'm excited to have at this fall conference will be Will Guidara. He was there last year as well. I interviewed him. This year, he'll be speaking to you on how to improve unreasonable hospitality with your customers. Next, Max Tegmark, the author of the greatest book ever written on AI, Life 3.0, that Elon Musk's read, and many of the other people in AI have read this book. He will be there, speaking on what things are changing today within the AI industry. Again, New York Times bestseller. He'll be there. I'll be interviewing him. Next, Nick Saban, the greatest college football coach of all time. 7-time college football national champion. Do you know how many times I've shared clips of this guy, of how he teaches others on become better players and better men in life? Imagine you're a CEO, you're a leader, you're a sales leader, you're an executive. Can you become better at dealing with your guys? Every day I want to get better. Do you want to get better? What better person to learn than a college football coach that doesn't get a Tom Brady for 20 years? You only get a player for 2 to 3 years. And how do you keep winning championships while you have to change your teammates every year or every other year? This, by the way, again, he doesn't do business conferences. He'll be at our conference. And this is the event, again, at the Vol Conference, first week of September, 4 through 7, Palm Beach Convention Center. 3 days. Can't wait to see all of you guys there. Once again, I'm going back to it. First 100 of you that get registered and you buy a ticket, you will get a month of General Mastermind per month. Per ticket that you purchase to bring to the event, you'll get 1 month. So you don't have to pay the other $8.95 a month. You'll get 6 months. Save yourself $5,000 if you buy 6 tickets. Up to you. Platinum or General, the same applies. And whoever buys a ticket tonight, we're going to be sending you not only the white paper, but also the webinar, the PowerPoint, so you can share it within your community and maybe even your employees and teammates that you're working with. And the next one, you buy 2, get 1 free. Pick and choose which offer you want to go to the Vol Conference. And again, very excited about this year. A lot of good questions are coming up, a lot of networking opportunities. Last year, we had 55 Assyrians. One Assyrian says, Pat, can you announce from stage how many Assyrians are here? All the Assyrians got together. Hey, can you announce for the people that are in the transportation industry, we want to network. 200 transportation people do business together. Hey, can you announce this? There was so much networking going on that people are on their own group meets, and guys that travel together are people that they met at the vault. And every year, people keep coming back. You'll notice at the end of Vault Conference, the moment there's opportunities to buy tickets for next year, without a location, without nothing, boom, like this, tickets sell out, CO tickets. Why? Because the amount of value it brings and the relationships it brings to individuals, it's priceless. Again, buy two, get one free, or for every ticket you buy, you get a month on General Mastermind. And for those of you that stuck around till the very end to get the white paper, text the word webinar to 310-340-1132. We will send you this PDF in text. Again, text the word webinar to 310-340-1132. We'll text you this entire PDF that we have here, the white paper, to you directly. And for some of you that are watching the same, Pat, that doesn't exist in my country, no problem. Go to this QR code. When you go to this QR code internationally, you'll be able to directly download the white paper all the way down on the page. You'll be able to download it to have it for yourself and do whatever you want to do with this AI white paper that we have, that we took time to do this for you. We have a lot of respect for all of you that are business owners, small business owners, entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, executives. Those of you that got on today, that you want to find a way to improve your life, you give me peace that the future looks bright. I just want to find a way to put all of you in the same room together so you can do business together and you can build relationships together, because your network and your community matters. So if it matters to you, last but not least, get registered for the vault. Let's spend 3 days together and make that the beginning of the greatest years of your life. I can't wait to see you, your spouse, your running mate, your executive, your business partners at the Vault Conference at Palm Beach together and leaving that place with great strategies to celebrate many successes you will be experiencing. Once again, thanks everybody for joining us. Mario, did I forget anything?
We're gonna leave the QR code up for a bit just so that they can, if they missed it, we can have the QR code up there.
Okay,
We'll leave it up there.
Sounds good. Anything else, Kelly?
No, sir.
We're good? Thanks everybody. God bless. Bye-bye, bye-bye.